My name is Karen. I am 42, I have 6 children, and I am mad. Hell Let Loose is my favorite game, and the developers are just ruining it. So join me today to ask the big questions of what is going wrong. I want to speak to the manager.
It's fucking... Oof! Eat my goal! Yes! And another! England, stick it in! Thank you, good night! Swat!
Hello, welcome to Wild Build Jammin. Hope you're well. So this week I was going to do a proper Karen going crazy video about all the things that piss me off, and then I realised why I was so angry.
I'm bored, it's funny, and I hate you. They are the holy trinity of why.
But I've calmed down now, and I'm just going to focus on the main problem I have with Update 7 and how it's not being addressed by the devs. Because I still have a lot of questions and I've got a lot of concerns about Update 8.
Drivers are going to be like, you know, you're going to want to make friends with drivers for Update 8. If you got someone who loves Truck Simulator jumping into Hell Let Loose,
then fucking kill me.
tap them up, butter them up a bit, get them in your trucks.
If the main gameplay loop is now buttering people up and getting them in the back of trucks, then it's not really what I signed up for.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, exactly right.
So, the first thing on the list is the map design in terms of this grid layout that we have. Here I'm showing you, I've got a garrison in front of me and I'm trying to push towards it, and I don't want to go through the bit in the hedge where all the enemies are, and I want to go around to the left, but obviously we've got these invisible boundaries where you die if you go around them. So this is a kind of microcosm in what happens with all those cap points that are on the edge of the map, either left or right. It gets fucking boring being attacking from one side all the time, and you just can't get any flanks off, which is what the whole game is about. Immersion. And this wasn't so much of a problem in earlier updates because you could build garrisons in the red zone and you could get round the side and use those spawn points to keep the push going. But in Update 7, with those map changes, the grid changes, it forced you to go straight down the middle, and especially on those points on the side of the map where you just can't go out of bounds to get round, even though there's nothing there stopping you. So that's enough fun stuff. Back to maps. Here's the old way that it would work. You've got green circles that represent garrisons and yellow circles that represent outposts. You would put your garrisons down, then move up, put your outpost down, then a garrison, outpost, garrison, outpost, garrison. And the garrisons acted as a kind of save point, you know. If you lost your outpost, then you could always respawn on the garrison and continue the push. And you would get really good flanks going on, and then the enemy would be outflanking your flanks, and there'd be a really good battle where taking out garrisons meant something, and even taking out an outpost was really important. Then came along Update 7, and you could no longer build garrisons in neutral territory or enemy owned territory. So what you got is your garrisons being set up, and then it's all outposts from there on. This game is meant to have dynamic front lines, and Update 7 has thrown that out of the window. The front lines are now set in place, and the thing is, the maps aren't designed for it. So if you take this point for example, if you're attacking on the Germans, you've got so much more ground to cover than if you're attacking as the Americans. So it's so much harder. So when people talk about Germans winning less than Americans, it's probably got more to do with this than it does with guns or tanks or whatever. And garrisons are basically a way of covering the map. It means you can access that part of the map very quickly. So that's, you know, roughly what we're seeing in these big areas here. And so it's pretty clear that there's a massive advantage for the Americans on this map, on this point. So if we take it back to before Update 7, this is kind of how it would play out. You would attack from your defensive garrison and try and take out those enemy garrisons, let's say. And for a bit of realism's sake, let's say that the enemies have built a garrison up in the north there, whilst you've pushed in further south and taken out those 2 garrisons. So this is what the coverage looks like now for the Germans. They've got those garrisons there, and now they've got access to the chapel. They're able to attack, and they're still able to defend. And let's just add a few more garrisons because it kind of looks like a dick at the minute. So this is the new battle lines, as it were. It's not down that straight line. You can establish yourself in the enemy territory, but you've got to watch out because they'll be behind you and they are establishing themselves in your territory. That's a dynamic battle line. What we've got from Update 7 is basically trench warfare. But the big problem was these things called ninja garrisons, where basically maybe a recon or a squad would get round the back of a cap, place a garrison down very near to it, and then the whole team would redeploy on that garrison and then just come out of nowhere and attack the point and take it quite quickly. Now, I have to admit, I really hated these ninja garrison things, but the problem is, it wasn't the point that you could build one there, it's the point that everyone mass redeployed on it and people would kill themselves to go do it, which understandably took people out of the game a bit. And to be honest, if your team were any good, they'd be able to get back because they controlled the map around it. So it rewarded the attacking team quite heavily and punished the defending team if they weren't paying attention and didn't have proper map control. And the thing is with the dev brief is that they don't talk about this stuff at all. They're just completely ignoring it. And for me, I don't care about trucks, I don't care about any of that stuff. I just want the grid changes back. With some differences, because those ninja garrisons, let's not call them ninja garrisons, let's just call them mass redeploys need fixing. Because it was the mass redeploy on those garrisons behind the enemy objective that was the bullshittery. And that bullshittery is still in the game, except now instead of favouring both teams, it favours the defensive team. And that's why you don't get any ground made anymore, and it's a meat grind and a slog. And it essentially rewards bad players, bad teams, because if your team is spawning on one garrison, it means they've lost control of the map, and they should be pushed off it. And these changes came about because people hated these ninja garrisons, I should point that out. And the thing is, these ninja garrisons are still in the game in the form of airheads, but they're not effective. They're not effective enough. No one uses them, and no one uses them properly. And they disappear after 3 waves. They're just useless. Well, they're not useless, but they don't have the same effect because people have caught onto it. And this little change has basically made the game a lot simpler and a lot more predictable. It's easy and boring. In this game here, I took out 4 garrisons in as many minutes because I just knew where they were going to be. You just walk up along the border of where they can build them and you just take them out from behind them. And then they can't attack because they're having to go back and rebuild their garrisons. It's rubbish. And I know people like that feeling of a hard front line, but to me it's like World War I more than World War II. And here's the really annoying thing. There's already a game mode in this game for people that want a front line feel. It's called Offensive. And the weird thing is, no one plays it. So why are we making this game mode like the one that we don't like? I really hope the devs have recognised this and made fundamental changes to this system. But the thing is, I haven't heard them say anything about it. And it's such a shame because Hell Let Loose has become a grind.
And this is the fucking Shawshank Redemption, right? But with more tunneling through shit and no fucking redemption, right?
So, I hope that all makes sense to you. I was going to do a massive video about all the other things wrong with the game, but to be honest, they all pale in comparison to these map changes or grid changes or whatever you want to call them. Like it's really all I want changed in Update 8. And the thing is, I think like if you've seen some of my videos, you'll know I love this game, but it's fucking hard to do it at the minute because it is such a grind fest. And I understand why they made these changes in the first place, and I thought that was a good thing as well. But it's been 5 months, 6 months, and they haven't tweaked this at all, and it seems quite an easy thing to do. And just simple things like capping the amount of people that can spawn on a garrison, making garrisons 150 meters apart instead of 100 to make it a bit more fluid. I don't think the content is the problem in this game. The best thing about it was its replayability because of these dynamic lines. It was down to the player to create their own battle, and now we're getting told how to do it because there's an invisible line in the sand telling you you can build a garrison there, but you can't build it there, and there's no apparent reason for it. And just so you know, I'm slow onto this whole theory, but going back to the whole clan and community thing, I've read a 25-page Word document written by one of our guys at Exodus detailing all the problems with Update 7. And he wrote that in the first week of Update 7. This was months ago. So it's these guys who really know the game, know the problems. So I just want to say thank you to them for helping out with this video. They probably don't want to be named, but you know who you are. And here's a little clip to sum up everything wrong with this update. Alright, see you next week. Bye! Yeah, he's moved, is he now?
Oh, you got a repair station.
Oh, he's facing you.
Wanna bait him?
We need to make a move on the
Right
chip.
side, let's go.
80 minutes left.
Disable
It's
that,
not
disable
dead. It's fucking unbelievable. No fucking way. 2 shots in back and fucking mine.
He's bugging out, and I'm dead.
We have to kill the repair station.
You just fucking blew yourself up.
Just throw.
I'm going, I don't know. 2 shots in back.